So it's a bit different today. I've got some new bits and pieces in. I saw, whilst I was at the wholesalers, some of these maple leaf Glock 17 hop units, and also the corresponding Crazy Jet barrels, which are really cool. So they're basically upgrade parts for Glock 17s, 18s, and I think also the SIG P226. I can't get the container open, so I'll see. And basically, what it is, you've got quite a cool barrel, and it's got a bit of special design at the end of it. And I'll show you that in just a moment. If I can get it off. There you go. You can hopefully just about see that. So it's kind of got like a outer barrel, then another sort of inner barrel there on the actual main inner barrel itself. So what that's doing is essentially, as the gas behind it is going down the barrel, it hits this bit here, and it's slightly bigger, and it essentially allows and it's got some sort of vent around the inside as well. It's kind of hard to see on the camera, but you'll see it if you see it in the flesh. But essentially what happens is the gas travels down the barrel behind the BB, and then when it hits this end bit here, so you'll notice it's kind of like a different colour on the tip there of it. Hopefully you can see that. The gas goes around, it spans around the BB, and apparently travels out faster than the BB, and creates a pocket of air that travels just in front of the BB. How far that goes, probably not varied, but apparently that will give you a bit more extended range. Now, I just thought it was pretty cool, so I've got a few in, and I actually fitted one to my Glock here. I've got to be honest, I noticed actually quite an impressive difference. So I don't think it's all just marketing hype. I put about 100 rounds down for it, and yeah, I think it's pretty good. I also managed to get it so it was lifting .32s pretty consistently, getting a cracking range out of it, I think above and beyond what the standard hop delivers. So I think it's a well worthwhile upgrade. So I'm going to show you now essentially how you fit it, because it's a pretty simple upgrade for the most part. So I've got here the new Glock, the new SECUTOR Gladius Magnus, which essentially is a Glock 17 type airsoft replica. So obviously it breaks down the same way as any other Glock, that you've got these two levers on the side here that you pull down, the top slide comes off. So I'll put this to one side, because I don't need that for this. So to access the inner barrel and to change the hop unit, it's quite simple. You've got this spring here, you take that out on that rod, you put that to one side, somewhere safe. You've also got this silicone buffer plate. Don't lose that, you will need that. If you don't put it back on, the top slide basically locks back, and it's really hard to get back and forward again. So yeah, don't do that, you could damage your gun as well, so don't do that. Anyway, you've got here the inner barrel and the outer barrel, and to access the inner barrel, what we've got to do is slide the outer barrel forward. It's a little bit stiff, but you'll free it up. There you are, it comes out, and you can tilt that upwards and then slowly slide out the inner barrel in the hop unit there. So I'll put that to one side. Right, at this point, I'm going to take my one over here apart and show you it versus this one, because I'm actually fitting a new one to this one, but I'll show you how they compare with a original versus the upgrade one, so you can kind of see how they look. So my parts over there, so I'm going to don't get confused. Free that up, and there you go. So that's the upgraded maple leaf hop unit and the barrel, and again with that funky end there. So really quite cool, well made, nice looking bit of kit. And there's the original one just here, just the standard barrel hop assembly. Although I will say one thing, it does come with the maple leaf Autobot 50 bucking, which is a really nice touch. Gives a pretty good hop rubber out of the box. So yeah, so you've got, as I say, this is standard one. It's not bad, but I don't think you get the same range. And you've got this one here, which is, in my opinion, quite a bit better. And it looks prettier as well. As we all know, airsoft is 90% looking cool, 10% ability. So it looks cool. What more can you ask for? But on a serious note, I do actually think there's a performance difference or performance increase to be had out of this bottom one here. So I put my one back over there. In fact, I put mine back together, just so I don't get any parts confused. I'll get it covered in dirt or anything else silly like that. So that goes back together, like so. So they can plate back on, and in a moment I'll show you how to break down the hop unit to get to the actual barrel itself. and go from there. I'm going to put my one back together for now before we start with the other one. So that's back together. I'll leave the mag out. So you've got your hop unit and you've got your barrel here. With these upgrade sets, you are going to need, and I think some of them in the past, they used to include some of the things like the dial, and I think some kits even include the hot rubber, but the ones I've got just do the assembly and the barrel. So you have to recycle the hot bucking or the hot rubber, whatever you want to call it, and you also have to recycle the wheel. So you've got to take these apart. You can't just rebuild them, so you've got to, as I say, borrow some of those parts. So it's quite simple to take this apart. You've got screws, 2 of them, in the hop assembly, one there at the back, one there at the front. They're tiny little Phillips head screws. They are incredibly tight out of the box. I'm not going to lie to you, before I started recording this video, I actually loosened these up because it was a real pain to get them loose. They put a ton of Loctite on these, so yeah, it's a bit of a job getting them apart, and you've got to be really careful not to thread or to sort of smooth out the top of the heads there, so you don't lose the ability to take them out. Otherwise you'd have to drill them out, and that's a pain in the arse. But yeah, so anyway, what you do is unscrew these. A little bit tight, as I say, but you've got those there. I should really get a better screwdriver than this, but because I've loosened it, not a big deal. I'm going to be manipulating my big screwdriver on the camera. So there we go. Get them out. Any minute. So you've got 2 screws there. It's no big deal. I think this comes with spare screws. No, it doesn't. So it is a big deal. Don't lose those screws. Don't think there's any in there. No. So make sure you look after these screws because you are going to need them. Put them to one side. Don't lose them. There you go. And that is now in 2 halves. So you've got in here, I'll take this apart gently, you've got this arm here, which is what pushes down the hop rubber onto, basically the wheels connect to that and it pushes down the hop rubber so you get more hop. But you don't need that because you actually get a new one in the set there, in the upgrade set. You've got a barrel and you've got that maple leaf bucking that I talked about a second ago, that's on there. So we want to take off this, just gently take that off. Just tease it off. Don't need to be rough with it. It will come off fairly easily. There we go. Put the barrel to one side. We'll keep the hop rubber over here because we're going to reuse that. So we've got our new barrel. First thing I'm going to do, make sure it's clean. Get the outside of it clean. The inside's looking pretty good. So I don't think there's much need to do with that. So first thing to do, to put this on, you'll notice on the top of the barrel, or the bottom of the barrel I should say really, you've got this groove. It's like a little line there, not sure you can see it on the camera, but there's a line that runs along the bottom of the barrel there. Now inside the hop rubber, there's a corresponding line that also goes in that groove. So it's pretty simple. When you get one in your hands, you'll kind of make sense of it quite quickly. And they basically to match up. So again, just gently with it, get it on, and you'll kind of feel when it seats into place. And if you do it right, it will just sit there nice and comfortably, and you'll tell it's in the right spot. You can't really mistake it, to be honest with you. So that's on. Next thing to do is to take out the hop chamber, like so, and gently tease it all out, because there's a few bits in here and there's a couple of things you don't want to lose. Oh, there are screws with it. Cool. I didn't think there were. So, hop assembly, hop arm, and you've got this tiny little thing here in the shape of an eye, and they call that an eye key. And that will kind of make sense when you look at it. At first time I saw that, I wasn't quite sure what to do with it, but yeah, I figured it out pretty quickly. I'll show you where that goes in a moment. So, take apart the hop assembly. Again, being careful not to lose the screws because you're going to want those. So, hop up goes together like so. You'll notice there's this kind of, just here, there's a cutout on one of the sides of the hop chamber. you'll notice on the hop rubber, there's a corresponding sort of little sort of nub there on the side that can essentially sit inside that groove. So this then needs to go, and you'll see because there'll be a recess just there, so you can tell where the barrel seats against it, but you'll also notice the back of it, so the barrel needs to be pointing that way. So the back of it is like a ramp where the BB travels up into the hop chamber, so the barrel needs to go that way. So when you put this in, that goes inside there, and you can put that down for just a moment. Now the next thing to do is to get your hop wheel from the old hop up. And you'll notice on the side of it there's kind of like a little dip. I don't know if you'll see it on the camera. There's a little dip that goes around there, and that needs to be sitting towards the top of the hop unit. So basically it needs to be nearest the barrel. Now the next thing to do after that, and this is where it gets a bit fiddly, so you'll notice you've got this arm here. You'll notice there's a hole in it. So also on this eyepiece there's kind of like a ridged bit there, so that on that eye key you've got a ridged bit, and the other side of it you've got like a rounded bit, so it kind of would look like it would sit around a barrel. The bit that's rounded needs to be facing down onto the hop rubber, and that triangle bit needs to be facing up away from the barrel, and that triangle bit will sit inside just there, and it will kind of, the two ends of the eye will then sit to the other side of that bar. It will really make sense when you see it, but what you want to do, this is where it gets a bit fiddly, is get your eyepiece like so, or your eye key, and just pop it there just so it balances on top of the barrel. So right now you hopefully you can see it. Sorry it's not a great quality on the camera or the laptop, but you get the idea I think. So the eyepiece is sitting there. Next thing to do, this is where you need to keep the barrel upright so it's sitting on there, it's not going to slide off. Get your hop arm like so. Seat it over that eye, so it just hopefully grips it there, so it's on it, and then put the end of the hop arm so it sits inside that little recess inside the wheel there. So that now is ready for the other side of the hop assembly to go back on top of that. So just basically hold that there, pinch it there for a second, lay it flat, it won't fall apart, and then just put the top casing, or top half, whatever you want to call it, so it sits in there. And now that will pinch all of that together. Was it not sitting? There we are. You'll find it wasn't sitting flush there, so make sure it all seats nicely. So there's a couple of nubs inside the hop unit there, which basically grip that barrel. So yeah, you'll find it when it gets together. Next thing to do, turn it to the side where it says maple leaf, and then pop the screws in. And voila. The guys that made the SECUTORs really Loctited the hell out of this. I'll be honest, I think that's overkill. I think as long as it's nice and tight, you keep it regularly checked, so in between games you're servicing, making sure it's not come loose. I don't think there's any need to Loctite the absolute arsehole out of it. Just make sure it's nice and tight and it's not going to come loose. And to be honest, this assembly sits inside the outer barrel, which pretty much holds it together anyway, so there won't be much play anyway, to be honest with you. So that is now fully assembled, and you're ready to put back inside the gun. So we get our silicon plate, and it's got some rounded edges, and those face towards the front of the gun, like so. And then your barrel, your outer barrel, just slide that forward if you put it back, so just so it lifts up, then pop that nicely inside. Of course I can't do it on camera, there you go. Pop that nice inside there, make sure you don't lose that. I'll put that buffer plate back at the front there. And now I'm going to put the spring. I'm going to oil this later and service this all up, because it's a little bit dry at the moment. Could do a bit more lubricant on it, but to keep this video short, I'm going to do that later. Maybe that's a video for another time about doing pistol maintenance. So that is now all back together. That's the new hop up and the barrel on there, so it's all fully upgraded now, and that should fire really well and lift some decent heavyweight BBs. So that now goes back together like any other Glock. back in, and that is now fully upgraded with a new maple leaf hop up and barrel. So that is pretty much as good as it's going to get, in my opinion, for the barrel and the hop upgrade for TM Glocks. I believe also the 226, the SIG 226, and the 17s, the 18s. Also, I think these are SECUTORs. They fit those. So anything that's kind of compatible with the TM Glock parts, that will work as well. So it had absolutely fantastic little unit, in my opinion. I think it works in WE as well, and also probably VFC, from what I can tell. But yeah, good bit of kit. Highly recommend it. Easy to fit. Any questions, drop me a message. But we've got these in stock now if you want one. So have a look. Cheers, guys.